Alright, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome back to YouTube. It's been a while. Actually checked this morning, it's been like 6 weeks since I've uploaded a video. So I'm going to ease myself back in to recording YouTube stuff with some 200 zoom. Been away a little bit, had a few holidays and stuff. I just fancied a little bit of a break from just consistently uploading stuff to YouTube. Found a little bit of motivation again. So here we are, welcome back. This video will... Let's move this little RNG down here, shall we? We'll have no real theme. I'm just kind of like getting into it, to be honest. Just opening up some tables and having some fun. Easing myself back into playing some Zoom, which I don't think I've done for a little while. And we'll go from there. So, let's jump into the action. Let's just let it organically flow. Welcome back to all the viewers. And let's see if we can run well. Right, so for those of you unaware, if you're watching the first video of mine, or it's been too long that you've forgotten, if you see green tag, that is going to be recreational, so we'll be looking to go after them. The purple tag is kind of something in between, maybe a reg fish, semi-recreational, semi-reg thing. And then you've got blue, yellow, and red and orange, which are going to be regs of varying different degrees. I changed my RNG, I just have like the big one in the corner now. High is passive, low is aggressive when we decide to use it. It's 200 zoom, there's 15 entries as it stands, which should be enough to get this going. I think that's about it really. Let's just jump in and create some action. So Jack 7 versus a 3x is one of those kind of like 3-bet fold sort of hands, but versus a 2.5x we can play 3-bet or call, I think. Just becomes a bit too good to fold when we get the better price in position. I think we're going to go for an exploitative 3-bet here based on just the time bank all the way down from Mr. Sanctity here. Usually if people like time bank open, it's going to be weaker. And it's oftentimes just like an attention span thing. You just have lots of decisions going on. But usually if you've got like lots of decisions going on, you will then prioritize the best hand first. So if you've got aces on one table, you're going to make sure you open that before you think about opening the 5-3 suited or whatever. So therefore, time bank opens are a little bit weaker generally. So I think we can then exploit this by 3-betting queen 10 off. Okay, recreational cold calls a small blind. We get 6-5-4, which usually is going to be quite a good flop for a cold calling range, but recreational is going to be a lot wider and a lot of Broadway cards in their range. I can call basically any turn bet, and I don't think we're folding out much ace high by betting. I don't think we want to go too big either, so I think checking here is okay. Seeing what our opponent does on the turn there. So we turn top pair on a 4 straight, very connected. I think we have a really easy call. I think our opponent's going to shut down a lot when they miss, like they've got flush draws and obviously 2 high cards still very often. Hand's going to be good quite a lot. Ace 9, we're just going to start with a pure check call versus half pots. And check the turn. So Buddy does not slow down, does go bet here, which is not ideal. This is close actually. Looks really nitty from like 1,000 hands. Yeah, I think if we expect him to shut it down when he misses, I think folding there is actually going to be a pretty cool play. Ace 9, I think it's a pretty clear value bet. I don't think it's worth an overbet. I think block is actually pretty nice here. I think our opponent's range is just going to be like pretty 10x heavy, which I think this sort of size puts that into trouble. Worry if we go too big, we're just making it a little bit too easy for him when the board runs out in that kind of way. Yeah, queen 10. Like if it's like a lot of my air here has made something on this kind of run out, and I don't have much air that's going to check call. Check call anyway. Sixes I don't want to free bet fold, and it's a min raise, so I think we can start with a flat here. And that is a board where we probably can get away with some lead-in range here. Yeah, which I think I like with sixes, just get protection. Just from like a king jack off, I think is now in a tough spot here. Lots of value to be had as well from just obviously just ace king or 5x or whatever. Tens is usually going to be like a pure free bet here, but with two, well, this recreational and then this kind of reg short stacker behind, we might be incentivized to kind of flat a little bit more here. And then if he squeezed, we could back raise as well and get it in, which feels kind of nice. Ace 2, I think, is pure call. Ace 2 even. Tens I kind of like a deceptive check. There's not that many bad turns, although that is one of them. I think we dominate a lot here. Okay, big flop C bet here. I think just a really straightforward check call. Versus this sizing. Keeping, he's like rubbish. Our hand's so strong, but it's not quite a value raise yet. Just checking again with tens now, trying to win that showdown, I think, a lot of the time. Which we still might do with 10 high. Pretty cool run out, actually. Yeah, I think we just get a good price here. This could just be any two. Obviously, if he has an ace, he has an ace, but I think this is going to be a pretty good call. Ace 2, so we're just shrugging and calling and hoping to river a club. Which we do not. Pretty bad run out, honestly, for the sizing scheme and stuff, so it's just going to be a check fold. Like a lot of his bluffs just completed on this run out, so. And he used a big flop sizing as well, so you already have to be pretty inventive to find like the king 7 of hearts and stuff here, so. It's going to be a really easy check fold. And I think he's probably in kind of bluff every bluff territory. There really isn't much air in his range here. As I say, you have to find pocket fives really often and so on. So, benefit of the doubt there. Honestly, Jack 8-2, I think you can just range bet for quarter pot. Probably an okay simplification here. Really, really dry board. Never going to be too bad. Versus check raise. Probably fold. Be kind of close. We're going to open the king 3. Just because if we do get through the reg, which will happen, you know, 85% of the time or so on. This guy just never free bets, so, and he's recreational, so we want to play more hands with him. Not a lot of EV checking. King 3 here, I don't think. So I think we just start out with a small C bet. And just try and fold him off King 9 or something, no diamond, I don't know. Ace high every now and again. Ace 10, I think, pure folds. Even if the fish gets in there, I think we pure fold. Jacks is going to be a mixed frequency between 3-bet and call, I think, isn't it? I think call, like 35% of the time, seems okay. Set is a good hand. See what size buddy goes here. It's already interesting that he's in the time bank, to be honest. Time bank small. Wow. Well, the fact he's time bank just makes me think it's really weak, so I'm kind of like okay with giving him a free one here. And just go and check call. Yeah, and then quick check. So he's going to have some Queen X, which we want to get the max from. Not much Ace X, to be honest. There is EV checking and potentially letting him bluff and then check raise him, but I just think he's probably got like a lot of pocket sixes and stuff here, so I think we're just going to go block and target a queen. Pretty whatever spot, like I just don't expect to face a lot of aggression here. Surprised he had ace 3, to be fair. Obviously makes sense, you know, c-bet flop, check back turn. Just didn't think with the timing on the flop and the turn it would be much ace X. Ace 10, yeah, I think we could probably argue for some free bet fold here every now and again. That'll do. I think 8.5 seems okay versus 50 bigs. Seems about right. This is just sizing down because he's shorter stacked. Okay, ace 5-5. I mean, he's just gonna honestly just have a shed load of air in his range here, so I think I might just go really small here, and then just go like range bet 10%. I think I'm gonna be okay with the stack depth. Like, it's just really hard to defend Jack 10 and hands like that. So on the turn, how incentivized am I to keep betting small? I think a lot. Like, it's just, he's still got a lot of air, he's still got a lot of pocket pairs, and I still think we're just forcing difference from them by just going small here. Like, small, small, small is really tough to combat. Like, how do you play, like, pocket sixes at this point? Like, it's really rough for him. And I think check, it just goes check, check. So I think there's, like, lots of small betting there is going to be sweet. Can obviously do whatever we want on this board in terms of sizings. I'm just going with a small bet for Jack 8 there. Yeah, ace 10 probably more call than anything else. Maybe a bit of free bet. Pocket 8's pure defend, even versus the slightly bigger size. I think we're still pure defending. That is an above average flop texture. So Sanctity does tend to like use more polarized sizes a little bit more often. So again, I might just give rope here rather than check raise. Pretty easy call with the 8s. Let's check raise at least sometimes. We'll go like 50-50 or something. The idea is, like, if he's sizing up on a paired board, A-side paired board that's so locked down, like, it just should just be like a whole host of just pure nothingness. So I think I'm just going to go check call the flop, check call the turn, or check raise. 8s. I can go either way with here, actually. King's obviously a very poor river. And we'll just jam this in now. Goes block, which is an interesting size. Doesn't feel very bluffy. Yeah, I'm just going to fold for a block, actually. Well. Win a stack from Queen 10. Always good. Yeah, the block. just kind of feels like pure value. Because I feel like the king being the scare card, like a natural thing to do with your bluffs is to kind of just go 2/3 or all in. Don't really expect block to be massively overdone, but then also, like, you know, the issue with block when you face 25% is your pot odds are so good. Like, if he does just mix in some pure bollocks 4-5 or something that check the turn, then you know, it doesn't take much for eights to be kind of a really sort of slam dunk call. So it is close. You can see an argument both ways. Usually, if that's the case, I should be using the RNG, and I definitely didn't. King 9, unfortunately, I think just check folds here. Nothing going on. Hoping it goes check, really. Depending on his size, like if he goes like 25%, we might have to continue, but versus this, it's just an easy fold. The 10s will call 4, I think, which is always going to be okay. Sizing's kind of interesting to think about here with like the shorty up there. Usually when people say that, they have a shove or fold, so I'm kind of already interested. That feel it just like, if he's asking me if he's recording, and giving me that honestly just feels like amazingly weak. We'll find out, Joaquin. I'm sure you can tell me in the comments below whether it is or it isn't, but this is kind of like a live poker read now. Like, genuinely, if he's strong there, he's not asking me. Like, if he's got aces there, he's not asking me if I'm recording and then going one time in the chat. So it's kind of like live poker. You know, when people start, like, just talking to you mid-hand and having a laugh and a joke with you, they're very rarely strong. We get, like, a little bit of a live poker read in there. Hi to you, Joaquin. Didn't know you watched the YouTube. Played a lot against him over the years. Good player. So, hello to you, mate. 6-5 is actually kind of close. I think 6-5 clubs, 6-5 spades check and bet this one. Just again, like the EV of checking back 6-5 here is not amazing. Turn's interesting. We actually have a really cool spot here for like a low equity, pure bollocks, nothing of nothing bluff. Which I think we're just going to go for here and then follow through on paint rivers. Sizing wise, do I have to go too big here? No, I think pot does the trick. Just because the board can still change so much and I can't actually fold clubs and spades all that much anyway. So I don't want to just like, if I've got like ace 10 or something like that, I'm not automatically just drilling this in every single time. And yeah, the plan here is to bluff like a jack, a queen, a king, definitely. Probably like a 3 as well. I'd probably bluff, just like pretend we've got 4-5 versus the raise, very easy folds. Everyone's betting half pot today. I think eights with a diamond is actually very close versus half pot, probably just about okay to call. And king 10 will be folding. Okay, versus do you have a bet on the turn? I mean, the default is to fold. I'm just wondering if there's any reason not to do that. Which I don't think there really is, to be fair. Like, I can call 6-5 and stuff again. I think 8 is probably pushing it a little bit too much. 10-8 will play 3-bet or call, and we're going to call this time. Okay, probably my default would be like a really just polarized c-bet, also polarized stab here on this kind of board texture, and therefore we're just going to check back every time. Interesting snap check. Kind of a weird one that actually, to snap check the 3. The thing with a snap check is I don't expect to be bluffed a lot on the river, so I don't think there's masses of EV checking back. I actually think I'll just go for the small stab there, and sort of take his snap check as, you know, what it looks like. It's just kind of, I'm never putting any money into the pot, sort of deal. Like, I think you can argue for checking back 10-8 there if he's going to bluff the river a lot, and especially if he's going to over bluff the river, but like with the timing, I just don't see... You know, even if you have a hand like 6-7 or something like that, I think you would consider c-betting the flop or stabbing the turn very often. For 60 bigs, I think we can probably just 3-bet king queen every time, because for 60 bigs we shouldn't be facing too much 4-bet jam. He says. I mean, yeah, obviously just fold now. I mean, for 40 bigs, it would be interesting to think about, but 60 bigs, I think we'll just go with pure 3-bet. But I think 40 bigs, if we're worried about like having to fold to a 4-bet jam, then it's going to become more of a call. Okay, so we've got very tight recreational cold call into small blind, ace high boards, really, really dry. I think a min bet just applies a lot of pressure here. Both, we want to play more with this guy, and this guy's just going to have infinite air in his range that I don't mind folding out, and a min bet's just going to do that really often. Pure defend queen jack. I'm going to shrug and go for that. I don't love it though. Interesting size to pick. I mean, we're going to shrug and continue versus 1/3. Wow, what on earth 1/3's the flop here? We'll see if we can turn something. I mean, I'm expecting like a range check now. Looks like a bluff candidate, doesn't it? I mean, it's very easy to overdo. I don't think I get masses to fold. I might check this back, and then, like, if he checks again, just bluff the river to fold ace high. The worry is that if this is his only size on the flop, then it's going to spell trouble. We're just targeting ace-king here, but I think he can still just have like aces and kings in this line really often with that river. Wasn't expecting the 4-3, which is fucking mental. But yeah, I think it's an interesting, I mean, it's just an interesting spot in general, on the river there. Like on the my worry with the turn is like that I don't think he's got a lot of fold, like just natural fold. It's also because he's 1/3 of the flop, I just have infinite hands in my range that just float the flop here. So I'm kind of concerned that it's very easy to overdo, and he's kind of actually going to be quite protected here. If we were just to blast, you know, blast it off on the turn. The river is kind of the same deal. I do expect him to play like aces and kings this way, like really often. But in the same breath, ace king and ace queen also make sense. So I think we can turn our hand into a bluff on the river. Well, we can bluff the river, not turn our hand into a bluff. Obviously, it's a bluff. But we can bluff the river just to try and fold him off ace high. We're not trying to fold him off like pocket queens or anything. Obviously, never expecting to be shown a hand that like 4-3, to be honest. But not that it's horrendous. It's just I don't think it's an amazing 3-bet candidate, but it could be okay, I guess. And then post flop is fine. I mean, I would potentially argue he can put a little bit more money in at some point, but maybe not actually. So same opponent here. King 6-3, 10-9, yeah, can go either way. A little bit deeper. Yeah, I don't really have much of a preference here between bet and check, so I'm just going to spin the RNG and do a bit of both. Okay, if that's a raise, I mean, we could consider 3-betting. Although being a little bit deeper, we're not in a massive hurry to 3-bet all sorts. Go small amount of the time, mainly call. Turn we're not going to be leading. It's probably a decent turn for in position, to be fair. Should be picking up equity. A lot on that, like your semi-bluffs have just turned a pair or something. Be interesting if he bombs it, because we actually can obviously river an 8. And we have a flush draw, which actually adds in a little bit more sort of implied odds and obviously direct odds. So I think with the gutter we can flat. Not loving raise, because I don't really want to raise fold. I think that's a bit of a disaster. So I'm raising, I would probably raise maybe like a 7-5 or something like that. I don't really care about raise folding, or care less about raise folding. It's going to be fun. Please don't snap check. Please don't check. What a river, by the way. Surely you just bet everything now. Come on. He's going to check. It's really annoying. He's going to check. Oh well. Come on. Do it. Oh, I love it. We're back. We're so back. Jack 4. I'm actually going to defend this because this guy's super nitty and tight, and I just, in position, I'm just going to win the hand endlessly here. Ace 5 is spicy. Very, very spicy. I should probably note his timing there as well. Yeah, let's go kind of ambitious with this. I think if we can maybe go like bet twice here and then give up. Not a massive note taker, me, but like on timing notes, I definitely will. Like it was really interesting, like how long he was in the time bank there, deciding whether or not to bluff or not to bluff. I mean, yeah, it's pretty spicy. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like the flop raise, it's really whatever. It's not like it's going to be an amazing flop raise, but it's not the worst. Obviously turn 7 and bombing it's fantastic. River 8 and following through. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. Definitely not. King 10 I think we'll just play, probably call, go a bit more linear with the 3 bets. And you're quite passive, right? Yeah, probably okay just folding this, just uber passive, recreational. Okay, we'll free bet our king queen off. What a river though. How clean is that river? That is honestly the only river where I make the best hand and still get paid because he gives up on a heart. What a river. The YouTube run goods. I should just record every session for YouTube. Because I do run really well when I record these. And then when I'm not recording, it's less fun, at least lately. Jack 2, I think I'm going to fold. I think it's a very loose open anyway. But 2 buttons game is pretty aggro and a good player, I think. So 3s for this size, these positions. I mean, I have seen 4-3 suited, so I'm tempted to call a little bit more, but it should be indifferent. Go on, we'll spin the wheel for like 50-50. 9-8, yeah, we want to be free betting at least sometimes, and that is going to be one of those times. And 2s, we'll just play pure call. Zoom is fun, isn't it? I never play it anymore, but it is fun. I think King 9 just folds. He's 3 betting a lot, especially from the blinds. I mean, we do have sample issues. He's just 3 betting a lot in general, isn't he? Okay, for the time being. It's always one thing to bear in mind there when I've got, you know, 2k hands on that particular guy. Like, it's not, that's not a big sample. And it's very easy for you to read into stats with insignificant samples. I think we're just going for showdown here with the 2s, by the way. So you've always got to like be careful. Like I talk a lot about like scaling your reads, right? Like how confident in your read are you? And it applies the same with HUD stats. Like how confident are you that that number that you're seeing is actually accurate? And if you've only got 2,000 hands, you can't be that confident. 6 is probably like a frequency defend, I guess. That's an above average flop as well, isn't it? It'll be interesting here. We're going to play obviously a lot of check raise. I think we just want to play check min raise if we are, or something really small. Yeah, I can kind of go either way because 6s has just got it locked down. It really has. So I think we're going to mix it up and just go with a bit of call and a bit of raise. Like we stack obviously queens plus anyway, but it is a board we want to be somewhat aggressive on. Yeah, you could maybe make the argument that obviously opponent is good and aggressive. Not going to bluff us versus Brazil recreational. Would versus a reg, but versus a recreational, we're just going to get the fuck out. There's not much air left at this point. The only real question here is whether I raise or not. Is there ever any saying that? I've only got to win 11%. That's basically never, but and there is a random factor with recreationals. Yeah, don't think we're raising. I don't think we get a lot of folds. What an own. So yeah, there's a little bit of an argument, like, you know, aggressive player. You know, check call and just let him blast it, which would be, you know, somewhat valid. But then, you know, you give me like the king 10 suited there, king 10 of spades or something like that, I'm going to be pretty tempted to throw in a check raise or king queen of spades or something. Same deal here with this, like 26, 12, 4. It's just so nitty. I'm just going to win the blinds endlessly there and here. So we're just going to open any 2 and I couldn't really give a fuck. Jack 4, if it goes check, check and he bets, what am I going to do? Yeah, I prefer betting, I think. And a pretty straightforward fold for that. One thing I'll put to YouTube, well done to all of you if you've made it this far. Congratulations, you get to hear about what's going on with my coaching in my head, at least at the minute. So for the past few months, I've been, well, since basically this time last year, I started offering one-to-one coaching. And at first I was just, kind of offering it at very much like a quote-unquote discounted rate, just to, it was my first time coaching. I had to kind of find my feet and ensure that I would be, offering value and so on. So I offered it very cheap. And then as the year progressed, I think it was back in like August sometime, give or take, I decided to increase my rates. And like my one-to-one coaching since then has been sweet, but it has been to the point where like I am oftentimes coaching people who are very, very close to the games that I play in, or sometimes are just quite literally playing in the games that I'm playing in. So it's kind of made me rethink whether I want to do that or not. But I do enjoy coaching, and from a selfish point of view as well, like it actually helps me become a better player, because it's kind of like a glorified study session a lot of the time. Like if you coach someone, you have to justify your own thought processes. Which is pretty powerful, like if you ever learn a new topic or something like that, like you've studied something and you've learned it, go and speak to someone and try and explain it to them. It's always a really good idea, and helps kind of cement the learning process. Do you know what? I'm going to turn mine into a bluff here. But so anyway, I'm kind of thinking like, do I want to do one-to-one coaching charging at the rate I currently charge, which is, it's on my link tree, but it's £250 an hour, which obviously prices a lot of people out who don't play in the games that I play in. So do I want to do that, whereby I'm coaching people who play in, who are playing at the same sort of level as I am? Is that really the best option for me? Or do I want to do something different with my coaching practices? This is kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. I don't think I'm going to bluff that. I think Joaquin's quite uncapped here. And we'll have a lot of King X, pair plus draw. I don't love this at all. I think we're just going to give this up. It's actually one of the ones I would have got it through on. So anyway, one of the things I'm sort of thinking, or one of the options I'm thinking about, is instead of doing so much one-to-one coaching at that £250 an hour rate, which obviously prices people out who play 50 NL and 100 NL, instead doing something a little bit different, loose open again because of this guy, doing something different where, well, one of the things I was thinking about was kind of running like a month-long boot camp, essentially, where I would take, say, 10 people who all play 50 NL and 100 NL, for example, and we would run, or what the idea I have is running like 2 group sessions a week with these 10 people, and then one-to-one session with each person per week for the whole month, and just kind of going, here's a month's worth of like really intensive coaching for you at a much, much cheaper rate than obviously £250 an hour. Rate would, to be confirmed, because it's just an idea in my head at the moment. We'll just check fold 8-7. But obviously much, much cheaper, but it would be a case of you'd essentially get, 8 to 10, depending on how many weeks are in a month or whatever, or how long I do it. So 8 to 10 group sessions where everyone who's, all 10 people, for example, if it's 10 people, are in the group, and we do a group session, and then 4 one-to-one sessions at a much, much cheaper rate overall, and you just pay for a month. That's something that's kind of in my head. I'm not going to bluff here. No, I'm not going to bluff here. I think this gets really heavily called. And he doesn't have much in his range there that's kind of complete air. Kind of betting to fold out ace high, I think, a lot. Which is potentially valid. So anyway, yeah, that's the, you know, well done if you've made it this far. You've heard about the kind of idea that I've had. So in terms of that, for you people of YouTube that are kind of, you know, watching and listening to that, is that something that you would potentially be interested in? Obviously, it opens me up then to, you know, people who are not playing, you know, fucking 200 an hour and can't afford to pay £250 an hour for coaching, which is fair enough. Like, I understand it's obviously not cheap. And there's obviously just a trade-off here where I'm just trying to find the sweet spot between what, you know, how much time I should dedicate, you know, how much information I'm giving away, and so on, but also like who I'm giving the information away to. Like, if I'm just coaching people to be, you know, quote unquote better, who are then just going to join me and play me in the same games, then is that really hugely beneficial? So yeah, it's just a lot of fucking word salad, that, isn't it? But that's basically what's running through my head at the moment. So I would appreciate it if you've made it 41 minutes into the video, in the comments below, if you're a 50 NL grinder, a 100 NL grinder, if that's something that you would potentially be interested in, let me know in the comments below and say, you know, yeah, that group coaching idea, 1 month boot camp, whatever you fucking call it, because it's just an idea in my head at the minute, would be something I'm potentially interested in. Honestly, the kind of idea in terms of the pricing, I don't have a price for it yet, but it would be way cheaper, to be honest, than £250 per hour. Way fucking cheaper. Because obviously, you know, I would be aiming it at people who play 50 NL or 100 NL, or even 25 NL, whatever. So obviously I can't charge too much money, because then you just price all of those people out, which is obviously completely fair enough. But also, you know, a lot of it would be group coaching. It's not dedicated one-to-one, so I also think that's not quite worth as much money. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff rattling around in my head. So I kind of just wanted to kind of put it out there into the YouTube universe, and get, honestly, some of your guys' feedback on it to see if that's something you would be interested in. Obviously, I appreciate it's going to be price dependent, but all I will say at this point, until I figure out a number, is that, yeah, it would be manageable, a lot cheaper than what I charge for one-to-one. One other thing that I have thought about doing as well, so you can let me know in the comments below with this as well, is a free webinar. Maybe do it as like a precursor to this bootcamp if I decide to do that. Obviously, I've done paid webinars in the past, but obviously, again, a lot of people don't want to, let's pure call this, a lot of people don't want to pay money for a webinar, which is obviously, again, completely fair enough. Let's just fucking 4-bet this, shall we? So I thought, you know, just like a free one, picking a certain topic and just running it on, you know, live on YouTube or something like that could be something that's beneficial to a lot of guys. Obviously, again, the detail in which I go into. What the hell do you all have? Oh God, I never win here. Yeah. Ace. Damn. I lose both, yeah. I lose all the pot. YouTube run bad. What was I saying? Something about free webinars. Anyway, if that's also something that you would like to be involved in, then again, just, you know, register your delight at that prospect in the comments below. Or if you just think that's a shit idea and you don't want anything for free, which I'm pretty sure no one will say, then also tell me. Let's play for another 5 minutes and then let's wrap it up. We can just stab super fucking wide here, can't we? So let's go for that. Shame about the aces. That was actually quite a big pot, wasn't it? Yeah, it was like worth a stack. One thing I have stopped doing lately is running it twice as a default, just when there's a recreational in the pot, especially. So I will, like, you will see me turn this on, if I remember to at least, when, you know, we get it in versus a reg. But when there's a recreational in there, it doesn't really make sense to run it twice, does it? And reduce variance versus a recreational player. We can't let other people stack them. I have to be the one that stacks them. But then again, if they just run better, then there's not really much we can do. This is going to be a loose raise, but I'm going to go with it. We just have a lot of like pretty gappers, suited gapper type things here to pick from. That 5-2 might not make the cut, and maybe 9-7 is much better, but just pure check the turn and just give up. Make a 5 on the river. I've got a tiny sliver of showdown. Yeah, other stuff to bluff, so I think we'll just check. Not really going to be doing anything spicy here, I don't think. Just check and pray he has ace-queen or something. Could maybe argue for check raise on the river, but I think when the flush completes it's a little bit different. I'm not overly enamoured by that. And I don't have many flushes in my range. So yeah, I think we'll just check fold. I don't think he's going to check back and then bluff a hand like ace queen either. So I think just fold is probably good. So yeah, the boot camp idea, I'm just thinking about it, it's kind of like just like a mini CFP, isn't it? But just without charging profits off people. But that's kind of like the way I would want to work it, is just kind of like we take, you know, 10 people over the course of just a month or something like that and just impart all of the fucking knowledge I possibly could in the space, you know, cram it all in the space of a month. Record everything and all that good stuff, so you know people can watch it back who have, like, you know, paid the money to be there and so on. And yeah, I don't know, I don't think it's like really something that people are doing, I guess. I don't know, you know, in terms of coaching it's just a little bit different than just charging one-to-one. And an idea that kind of makes me a little bit like excited, or potentially excited. So yeah, we're testing the waters and we'll see what you all have to say about it. Right, let's set our next big blind and let's GG the play and explain. More YouTube videos to come, by the way. Not all going to be play and explains. I know like the last fucking 8 or whatever have been play and explains, but I am trying to get some other stuff sorted, maybe get a few guests on, and so on, as well, to do different styles of videos. So I'm going to look to do that in the future. I'm going to call ace 9 and flop a flush. No, but top pair is still good. This guy has 3-bet me from the big blind, I think like 4 times now, maybe 5. And one of those times he has shown me 4-3, so this is going to be weird. Half pot is not a size I'm delighted to see on this board. It's kind of really strange sizes that he's picking. Like, you get 8-5-4 two-tone and he goes 1/3, and then he gets ace 8-8 rainbow and goes half, which is kind of like, do it the other way around would be the higher EV option. Kind of expecting a lot of air in his range here. Kind of don't really mind giving a free card, to be honest. The board's just really locked down. And then, like, how tempted are you going to be to bluff Queen Jack on the river? Maybe not that tempted. If it jams, then that would be interesting. Okay. So now it's just to value bet or not. Don't really want to get check raised. Don't think there's lots in his range to actually call, so I think I'm just going to tap the table and see what he's got. Because his range is just kind of like give ups. maybe an occasional 7, but like that would be a pretty check raise, wouldn't it? And if I get check raised, I really don't know what I would do. So I think we're just going to tap the table here. Yeah, what I fucking was getting check raised, wasn't I? I mean, again, there's just, you know, really interesting hand selection, sizing schemes, and just some weird and wonderful shit from this dude, but can't hate it, I guess. Right, yeah, there we go, GG. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As I say, give us some feedback on that, you know, coaching sort of idea that I have in my head, and if you're interested, hit me up in the comments, and then I can kind of advance on it and announce more as it comes, I guess. Likewise, same with like a free webinar. If you've got any ideas for topics that you'd want that to be, please though do bear in mind it will be for free. So like, I'm not just going to be like giving the whole world away, if you know what I mean. You know, there's a reason I do paid webinars and free webinars, and I explained this to someone in some comment somewhere, but like the free shit, you know, it's not going to be me giving everything away, because that doesn't really make sense to do so. There's going to be a lot of good value in me doing a free webinar, for example, but like it's not going to be like the paid one I did a couple of weeks ago, where that was like 2 hours on a specific topic, like really in detail with like MDA and so on and all these things included. Like a free one would probably be like a 45-minute, maybe an introduction to a certain topic or something like that. So, you know, I just thought I'd just say that and bear that in mind. More word salad. I don't know. Maybe I've had too much caffeine. GG anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed. Love you, miss you. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you all on the next.